So first thing we want to do on any roof substrate inspection is check all the seams, details, fasteners, and penetrations to see if there's any gaps, seams, or problems in the roof where water could intrude the roofing membrane. We're going to start here in the corner. It's a very common area for leaks to occur. You can see here we've got a little bit of the membrane that's exposing some of the deck and drip edge here. There's a gap where water can get in, so we're going to want to address that with product as we move along. We're going to go down the entire drip edge and check and make sure the membrane's adhered. Here you can see we've got some loose areas that we're going to want to address as we do the restoration system. We're going to keep coming down the entire seam. Same on the inside. We have a seam here. We've got a fish mouth, a loose area where I can stick my whole hand under here. We're definitely going to want to address that as we do the inspection. Here we've got probes going into the membrane, loose membrane here again, and just coming all the way down. As we're inspecting and checking our seams here on the inside of the clamp, we have a very useful tool, which is a mirror, to be able to see and look underneath to see if there's any underlying issues that we can't see from the top side. Pipe penetration, first thing we want to do is again inspect the entire perimeter to make sure there's not any loose areas. Here we've got loose membrane, loose seam. We're going to inspect this entire patch. Next thing we want to look at is this entire seam here where the penetration is coming through the roof. This is a very common area for leaks and water intrusion in the roof. We want to probe this parapet wall and make sure the seam is tight. You can see here the probe enters the membrane. We're going to want to make sure that we address this when we do all of our detail work. Again, we've got some loose areas here, very common area in the flashing for water intrusion. We're going to want to address that and fix that in our restoration. And just come along the entire base flashing here and then check that this membrane is watertight. As we're inspecting our coping edge, we want to make sure that there's no gaps and voids in the coping. We're going to want to address these, make sure that there's not any damage or open gaps or seams in the coping. We want to make sure that we apply product to these fasteners to make sure that they're watertight. So we all have a phone with us and they have cameras on them. It's a great tool for this. So what we can do is we're going to take a picture of any of these issues and concerns we have on the roof, and we can use them in our evaluation reports. Another very common tool we have here is a Tramex moisture meter. This allows us to measure and see if there's any moisture underneath of the roofing membrane. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it on the surface of the roof. As we turn on the device, we can see that we want to make sure that we're on the proper setting for roofing, so that we're measuring the right depth underneath the roofing membrane. And here you can see that we have anywhere from 5 to 10% moisture. In our moisture scan with the Tramex tool, if we find that there's moisture underlying the membrane, we might want to do a core sample and inspect to see if there's any moisture in the insulation or the roofing membrane underneath.